Welcome to another episode of Two Ales and Hockey Tales with Wally. And today I'm so excited to have on a 25-year-old from Whitby, Ontario, Canada. His hockey journey has taken him to Canada, the USA, and to the Chocolatey Manchester Storm of England. A staple, legend, and champion with the Whitby Wildcats AAA program, taking down the OMHA gold medal. Jeepers, then he kept winning with St. Andrews College and won there 2 times. He then jumped into junior hockey, folks, for 2 years, and would you look at that, he won again. This time with the Wellington Dukes. And for fun, ran a muck, putting up 67 points in 51 games and 17 playoff points. Confirmed gamer. He then mucked around with Canisius College and is one of these kids that have played 5 years of NCAA, running amok with Bemidji State University in his 5th year. He has now set up shop with my Chocolatey Manchester Storm and is set to run amok and get showered with the chocolate of his choosing. Welcome to the back deck, Mitchell Martan.
Thanks for having me. What an intro. I appreciate it.
Hey, nice meeting you. I get into how we know each other. Nice to meet you.
Yeah, you as well.
Welcome to the Chocolatey Manchester Storm.
Thank you.
So you guys didn't win a preseason game, I heard. So there hasn't been any chocolate yet. You don't even know what we're talking about, do you?
A couple fans have reached out. We had a couple fan appreciation nights, so I kind of saw what you're talking about. But
You know what's
as for,
coming.
yeah, I have a good idea on what's coming.
Well, it's a good thing preseason doesn't matter at all, right, folks?
Kidding.
Who'd you guys play? How many preseason games? You guys got there later than other teams. Like you guys only had like a week, right? Week or two?
Yeah. We were only together as a full team for about a week. We played Coventry twice, and then we played Guildford twice.
Right. So that's not much time to gel and get ready. So like I just saw some commentator dickheads picked us to finish 10th place. Well, they can go fly a kite, right?
Yeah, I mean, we'll see how things pan out. Obviously, we're trying to win a championship, and things change quickly throughout the season. So,
Yeah, and
we'll
once
win.
the team comes together and you guys all get to know each other, and then Ginner figures out how to use everybody correctly, and then all of a sudden you start running amok, and then chocolate starts flying, and then all of a sudden fun is fun, and then winning's fun, right?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I wouldn't pay too much attention to the preseason rankings and polls. They switch all the time.
I couldn't agree more. I wonder what they picked us in 2014-15 in Cardiff, you know? We were two
Yeah,
points away from
exactly.
winning the league, and the year before they had finished ninth. And I wonder where they picked us at the start of that season, you know? Just
Yeah,
got my
so
competitive juices flowing a bit when I saw they picked you guys 10th. It kind of pissed me off, and I'm not even playing, you know?
yeah, exactly.
It's good. What's it called? Like boardroom material or whatever to put up on the board.
Yeah, yeah.
Get you.
Honestly, I didn't even know about it until you brought it up. So
I just
I'll
saw
kind
it
of keep that
yesterday
in the
and it
back
got
of my
my
mind, I'm
blood.
sure.
Yeah, got my blood boiling yesterday. Anywho, what is your favorite chocolate bar? Have you tried any of
So
the UK things? Have you been trying the new ones over there? They got
I
some weird
tried.
shit.
Yeah, I've tried a couple. I mean, back home, I have a score bar, which is really similar to a dime bar. So I tried a
Thank
dime
you.
bar, and they're pretty
Thank you.
good.
Thank you for saying that. You
Yeah,
know what? I just had this argument yesterday at work. Someone said they had a dime, and I'm like, oh, that's like a score. And they're like, no, it's not. It's not even close. Thank you. Thank you for that. Taking that back to work with me. Thank you.
no problem. Yeah, it's very similar. And then, the standard Dairy Milk chocolate bars, the Dairy Milk buttons are good as well.
The
So
buttons, isn't that like just
been
like a
trying a
Hershey
couple of those.
kiss? Isn't that like just a little chocolate thing?
They're a bit smaller. Yeah, they're a bit smaller.
That's what you're into, eh?
Well, they're pretty tasty, so I can't complain.
Have you tried a boost over there? They're pretty clever things.
No,
And
I
then I can
haven't.
call it a shed boost, you know? Do you know what a shed boost is? That's when
No.
I usually would do this in my shed, but the kids are here and everything, PD day. And anyways, a shed boost is when you come on and chat and then you go out and run amok. It's called a shed boost.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't know that.
Yeah. Um, one of the fellows that's already came on, Tyler Hinam. Are you playing with him? I saw a highlight of you guys making a sweet give and go.
Yeah, I mean, Heine and I have been playing together, I think the past. 2 games. We've been practicing together and stuff. So, anything can change come home opener and whatnot. But as of right now, we're kind of building some chemistry and just finding um, some chemistry on the ice. So, I'm
What are you? Are you a left winger?
yeah,
Yeah. And what's Heine? Is he a right winger or center?
right.
Yeah. Who's playing in the middle right now?
Right now it's Johnny Corneal.
And they knew each other beforehand, right?
Yeah, I believe they played together out east in Nova Scotia.
Yeah. It's
And
always
then I
nice when you
kind of
can
knew
have those
Johnny.
connections to start a season, right?
Yeah, obviously they're good buddies and they gel well on the ice together. So I'm just kind of trying to do the best I can to keep up.
I hear you. And you're not from far away from where I am. I'm in Kincardine, Ontario, whether you know where that is or not. Do you?
Oh yeah,
On Lake Huron there. So you're just from Whitby, eh?
yeah, exactly. Just I'm in Ashburn right now, so just a bit north of Whitby, but I grew up in Whitby.
Okay. And so this is your first time overseas or what?
I've been overseas for leisure, but never for hockey. So just kind of
What do you
had some
think of
days.
Manchester so far?
I like it. It's different. I mean, the pace of the people themselves are it's a different vibe. It's not like walking around downtown Toronto where everyone's kind of rushing to go to the business sector and do everything. It's more relaxed, which is nice. But the people are great. The city itself, I've been in there once or twice now, and it's really cool. Some really good food actually, which I was
What kind of food are
looking.
we getting into? Like
I've
British food?
no, just even some like pastries or bakeries near the rink, and then even chicken wings down here have been very, very good. So and tasty.
Really? Chicken
Yeah.
wings. I don't remember the chicken wings being that good in
There's a
Wales.
couple little spots where the boys kind of led me, and
The
yeah,
boys know, right? That's what the good part of having returning players on teams is people know where the honey holes are then, right?
absolutely.
Yeah, that's hockey. You got to tell people where to go, and it gets passed on for generations, right? That's how you start a
Yeah,
shed. If you guys ever stay over in Cardiff, you guys are gonna have to hit Chippy Lane. Let me know how it goes.
will do.
But I guess you won't stay over there, but that sucks. Have you met Jake, director of Shed Marketing? He's a fan. He loves the moose, coral. Anyways, he's Shed director of marketing, and he's gonna get the chocolate for you. He'll get whatever you need. He said last year he bought 600 to 700 bars of chocolate.
Holy, yeah, that's a lot. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know
So
if I can eat all that, but I'll make a dent in it.
we'll see what their budget's like again this year. But I think it's a Dimes and Buttons, right?
Yeah,
There we go. See, folks, it's gonna make the world not feel so small, right? When a guy from like not far where from where you're from, can then we're gonna get chocolate thrown on the ice in Manchester, England, right?
yeah, definitely.
Be pretty cool, actually. It's pretty cool for me to see over here. And Santeri Harala, what's he like? I haven't seen him play, but it looks like he scored a few goals and whatnot. You know what he requested for chocolate is
If he's a
Carl Fager all the way from Finland. And I know for a fact that people have been putting Carl Fager in their pockets and taking it to the storm shelter and can't wait to throw it on the ice, hoping it's the home opener, right?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Santi's a great player. He just um very smart with the puck. He's skilled, obviously. He's put the puck in a couple times, so people have seen that flash, and he's just a smart, efficient player. Works the
You
power
guys
play
are pretty
well.
young on that squad, eh? Because he's younger than you, I think.
Yeah, I think he's 2 years younger, maybe 2 years younger than me.
And you're just a 25-year-old, eh? Gosh darn it, I'm getting old, you know?
Yeah, I mean,
Some
league's get younger and younger nowadays.
Yeah, that's what keeps happening. And I keep getting older. I guess the shed may have to shut down someday when I can't talk to the new guys, right? I'll be too old and not cool. So your captains, did you know that I am a sponsor of your team?
No, I didn't know that actually.
Really? I don't know where you've been. I'm the captain of Critch. The captain.
You're the
Or
captain
I'm the
of.
sponsor. Jeepers. What I
Oh,
say? I'm the sponsor of Captain Critch.
oh, okay. Yeah, that makes more sense now.
It does make sense because he started the Chocolate Storm, and now fun is fun, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
And then the other captain is Moose Coral, eh?
Yep. Yeah, Mikey.
Yeah.
pleasure
Good
living
group
with.
of dudes you guys got around there. Have you guys had any fun nights yet, or has it just been business?
Pretty well business. I mean, I came in late. I had my sister's wedding that I had to attend, so
Yeah, you should be
obviously,
there for that.
yeah, definitely. So no, that was good. So I came in a lot later, probably 5, 6 days later than most guys. So I wasn't around for very much,
Right.
but
You're
sure.
just getting into it all.
Yeah, exactly. Just adjusting with the time and
Did you get jet
getting used to
lagged?
all the new equipment. Yeah, no, I definitely did that second day. I slept in pretty late and then came home and I had a good 3 hour nap, so I was still getting adjusted.
And then you're wide awake at night. I remember those days.
Yeah, not very fun.
Yeah, and then you're just saying new equipment. New equipment sucks.
Yeah, I mean it's definitely different, especially when you switch brands too. So I've been using CCM for the past probably past year for sure, and about the past 4 years. So um it's definitely a bit of an adjustment, but I mean it's
Are we
pretty standard
talking
stuff.
equipment in general, or are we talking sticks? Because I'm pretty sure I have that written down on your poster pics. Is that
Yeah,
one picture you got a Bauer stick, and the other picture you got CCM? Because that's a soft spot for me. I'd like to talk about it.
yeah. So I mean at Bemidji we had all CCM pants, gloves, sticks, helmets, and then at Canisius I had Bauer sticks, pants, gloves, same thing. So I've been kind of bouncing around the past couple of years, finding out what I like more.
Well, I was always a Bauer guy, and then my whole life I'd used Bauer, and then I got to the AHL, and they told me I could no longer use Bauer, and I go there the end of a season, and they had no right-handed curves, even close to what I would use, and they said I had to just grab a stick and play. And to think that's your AHL tryout just made no sense to me. And those were CCM sticks, and they were brutal. So, you know, soft spot.
Yeah, yeah. But the technology's been changing so much, and you can pretty much use any brand right now and probably get the same result depending on who you
There's some
are.
pretty sweet sticks out there. When you go to the store, and if you don't look at the prices, you'll actually pick those sticks up. Uh, like with my kid getting into hockey here, both of my kids actually. My daughter just made one of her Barbies into a hockey player. It was pretty cool. Um, but anyways, like the sticks that they have, they are light, they feel good, and you can just tell you'd be able to snap her with them, you know?
Yeah, yeah, no, they're definitely been changing like crazy. I mean, you even see some guys entering the NHL now starting to use Sherwood again. So I'm sure those sales will take off and whatnot.
Yeah.
But
Shout out to
same.
Cody Lampel. There's a guy out in Germany that he gets, I think it's Sherwood, that makes him one pieces, but they look like old wooden sticks. They're so cool.
Oh,
Yeah.
geez, yeah.
Yeah. Cool stuff. Okay. Let's see. What other questions do I got? Um, So Ginner and Finner, how much is Finner around? Is he just the big suit that like walks around intimidating you guys?
I mean, I've seen Finner twice. He was kind of in to check in on me and a couple of guys. I mean, just around the rink and whatnot and saying hi. So I talked to him once as soon as I got there, and then maybe a couple of days later. I saw him today with Heine. We were walking to get some food, and I saw him
Isn't
talking.
that interesting? You're going for food with your line mate. I always say people that play on the same lines tend to hang out together quite a bit, you know?
Yeah, I mean it makes a difference when they're a couple Canadian boys too, and
Hmm.
just kind of being together on
Well,
the
he's a
bus.
dandy. I met him in the shed. He's a dandy. Yeah.
Yeah, he's a really good guy.
So have you guys played road games? So have you guys like figure out who sits where on the Greggy bus?
I mean our bus is pretty amazing. Like it's pretty big, so we
I've been
have like
on it.
our
I know.
set
I've
spots
been
with.
on it virtually. I actually interviewed Greggy on the bus at a road game last year.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, got that bug in your eye
There's a
there.
bee like flying in my mouth right now.
Yeah. No, our bus is awesome. It's the best I've been on, the best I've seen in a long time. So, um,
So you figured out which spot's going to be your spot for the year?
there's some guys who like to play, some games, some card games. Some guys like to watch movies. So you kind of just find
What
your
guy
way in
what
around.
what guy are you? Are you a card guy or are you a movie guy?
Depends on how tired I am. I mean, if I like to socialize, usually after the game, I'll play cards with a couple of the boys. But
But depends if you win or lose too, right?
yeah, I mean that makes a big factor. or
Yeah.
yeah,
You
I
win
think
cards is way more fun than if you lose and you're trying to be quiet, like not laugh or make a joke. And,
yeah, I mean definitely first
it's
bus
like
ride
the
there.
opposite, right? Winning and losing. It's like the exact opposite.
Exactly.
Yeah. And so is the bus ride home. It can be really fun or the opposite.
No,
But at least you're on the Greggy bus. That is a nice bus, you know?
yeah, perfect.
Um, okay. So, oh, and I'm gonna have a raffle because I owe Finner money. Finner, I'm not dodging you. I owe you money. I'm sponsoring Critch. So I'm having a raffle, and it's gonna be to raise money for Rich Bateman, recovery from a stroke, but also to sponsor you guys and to pay the debts I owe. Because, on social media the other day, I did see a video of Finner fighting, and I am gonna pay you. I understand I owe money to some bad people when I saw you fighting there. That he can chuck them, and I am gonna pay you. I'm gonna start a raffle with Ryan O'Reilly pucks. We're gonna make some money. That'll be at aleshockeytales.com, and I heard it'll be up by like today or tomorrow. So get some raffle tickets, and then you're sponsoring your Manchester Storm by buying raffle tickets, and you get to win a Hall of Famer signed puck, right? Makes sense, doesn't it?
Yeah, definitely sounds like a good. Yeah, it sounds like a good little initiative there. So
Yeah. We have
keep my
five
eye out.
signed Ryan O'Reilly pucks. And there'll be five winners, and tickets are going to be £1 each. So you may as well get involved and sponsor the Chocolatey Manchester Storm that were picked 10th in the league and are going to run amok. And you can all watch and learn, right? You know what I mean. Did Ginner make you do a fitness test?
I actually missed the fitness test because I was obviously at my sister's
Well
wedding,
played.
so I
Well
heard.
played.
Yeah, no kidding. But no, I heard a bunch of the guys obviously had to do it, and
You don't
there
know
was
what
just
it
a
was?
couple. It wasn't anything too crazy. I mean, pretty standard stuff.
Yeah, it's
Some foot.
interesting because every place I played, I think Ginner's normal and he's like a normal hockey guy. But you get to Europe, man, there can be some interesting fitness tests and they can hurt.
I've heard. I've heard.
Yeah,
Some,
yeah.
yeah, there's some places, especially in some of the Eastern countries, I've heard that some of the fitness testing gets pretty crazy, and the camps themselves are pretty long.
The camps can be 6 weeks, and it is hell. It's actual. Like you have anxiety trying to sleep the night before every day because you're like, is tomorrow the day they break me? Like, am I gonna die tomorrow? But you get through it every time. It's very bizarre, actually. Every time you get through it, and then it's weird because in the summer and you go home and you're trying to enjoy the summer, but like it's in the back of your head, like, holy moly, that's coming.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, that I go into Cardiff and it was just 2 weeks and we started playing the real games. It was like, wow, this is refreshing. So I guess,
Yeah, I mean, they do it for a reason, right? So they must have some sort of belief behind it.
yeah, it's totally different than like trusting people to be professionals and showing up like be ready to go compared to there. You don't guys don't really do that much until the training camp because they know they have 6 weeks of it.
Yeah, I've heard that they kind of take their summers for more of like a break, and then
Yeah. You know what? I love that. I wasn't a big skater guy in the summer. I understand in the UK league you have to because when you get there it's go time, but I wasn't a big skater guy in the summer, especially when I was in Germany. But are you a skater guy in the summer? You
definitely,
must have
yeah.
been, eh?
I used to be quite a bit. I just kind of found out what's worked for me. So I
Yeah.
find that more time in the gym, getting stronger, or working on conditioning, just even off the ice has helped translate to my game a bit more. I do some hockey camp stuff too, so I'm naturally on the ice a bit more regardless.
That
So
makes
that's kind
sense,
of
yeah.
a lot of the ice time too. But nothing too crazy. I mean, I'm not one of those guys who's on the ice 5, 6 times a week.
Right. And I always felt like for me to be ready to go for a season, I needed a break. I needed to, especially after how long a season is, how invested you get. You need a break from the ice. And yeah, like in the gym, you do it during the season, but not at the levels you do in the summer. And then that's a break, right? You get into something different than the ice stuff.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you see kids nowadays, they're getting younger and younger, but they're in the gym and on the ice so much, it makes you kind of wonder what's going to work and what doesn't work because some
I
of them
I
need a
think
bit
there could be too much, and I think some of those kids, come 16, 17, just may not be as driven if they've already done too much. When it's actually go time, you'd want to be ready and fresh, right?
exactly. You want to build some athleticism, doing some other sports too, maybe some hand-eye and playing baseball or lacrosse or soccer or whatnot. So
No kidding.
yeah,
You got to be able to be an athlete and do other things, but also have other interests that like take your mind away so you can be excited for it. It's like, yeah, tonight kids got a baseball tryout for next season already. Wild
yeah,
stuff.
yeah,
The whole,
exactly.
I don't know if it's like this, probably it is in the city, but like hockey teams around here, like the AAA and everybody, they try out last spring for this year. And it's like at certain age, there's kids going through puberty, there's kids eating chips all summer and not doing anything. I found it very interesting. I'm going through tryouts right now for the team I'm going to pick. And there's been kids that have surprised me that are look much better. There's kids that have disappointed me because they look completely out of shape and they haven't done anything. Um, and it's bizarre how a summer changes these kids from, especially like with you get puberty involved, and some of them are starting to grow mustaches and look like men, and then there's still kids, and it's like, how can you pick these teams 4 months ago? They've all changed so much, right?
Yeah, I remember same sort of thing. I was one of the later bloomers, but there were guys hitting puberty early. They had facial hair and whatnot, and they were getting stronger and bigger and faster. And it definitely changes, especially when you go through those pee wee years, pee wee to Bantam, which is about 12 to 14 to 15 guys sprout up. And then,
Yeah, and that's for what I'm coaching is under 13 this year, and it's there's different sizes out there.
yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Anyways, I got sidetracked, but yeah, I think it's weird how much they can change in a few months, and also you got to play other sports. But anywho, um, have you done anything fun yet in Manchester? I guess we talked about it's been pretty much business, but you have found some nice restaurants around, eh?
Yeah, I mean, a couple of the guys and I went and saw, I think it was the Davis Cup. We saw Andy Murray play.
Right. That's
So
the first time I wrote to you. You were watching the Davis Cup. So that's cool. I find it neat. I guess you're from Whitby and there's shit going on in Toronto all the time. But like I didn't grow up with a whole bunch of entertainment stuff around. So when I would get to live in a place like Cardiff or somewhere else, and like there's a lot of options to go have fun and see things you normally wouldn't get to see, right?
yeah, I mean, that was the first time I ever saw a tennis match live of that caliber. So it was pretty cool to see those guys and just how good they are. Obviously, they're the best
Was
of the
it
best.
exciting? I bet was it exciting?
Yeah, because it was the Davis Cup, right? So you have like the World Cup, and a lot of it's not so much individual as it is the whole
Oh,
country.
that's like the countries, right?
Yeah, the whole country gets behind the players, and the fans are going nuts every time you want to point. And obviously, as the game progressed,
That would be
um,
exciting then, yeah.
yeah, and he won, so it worked out well in his favor.
Um, okay, let's see here. I had preseason chocolate, no line mates. We talked about that. Poster picks brought to you by Freeman Designs, the guy that makes all my posters and has done over 300 of them, folks. And he makes the programs for a bunch of elite league teams. I'm pretty sure he's still doing Sheffield as well as Cardiff's. And he is running amok in the poster making game and program making game. And that he's done this for me voluntarily for like years now and done over 300 posters. Thank you, Lee. Freeman Designs, folks. Check him out. But he made your poster and what you put on it. You're a golfer, eh? You had a couple golf pictures.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I play golf as much as I can in summer.
As much as you can. How much is that?
um, Probably 4 or 5 times a week, depending on
Are you so you got to be a member somewhere to play that much?
yeah, yeah. I've been a member at a couple courses the past few years, so just kind of my parents are big golfers as well, and they're members too at certain places. So we kind of make it a family outing.
Well, golf's a great thing to actually get to spend time with people, right? It's like when else do you actually sit with someone for 4 hours and like you're playing a game, but you're also like catching up and seeing each other. I love golfing with buddies I haven't seen in a while. It's like coming to the shed, you know?
Yeah, no kidding. I mean, it's it's great to just get out there, take the mind off of whatever's on your plate, and just go
Yeah, and you're out in
automatically golf.
nature, you're outdoors, it's now I like with golf. I don't know if you do it, but music is a thing now, right? People listen to music while playing. I'm a big music guy while I golf. Do you do that?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely the same way. It's kind of
When I was growing up, music playing golf wasn't a thing.
yeah, it was more of a gentleman sport, and I just think ever since COVID, golf really exploded. So
Well,
it's
I
been
guess when I think
growing.
about how old I am now, I guess we probably only had Walkmans and like the di the disc players. I don't think there was actual speakers you could put in your golf cart to listen to music.
Yeah, yeah, that's changed now quite a bit. I mean, you got a bunch of courses, you get the new carts, where you can do the Bluetooth and everything, so it's perfect.
That is perfect. So who was the fella that you're on the tee off with? Got to be a good buddy.
Oh, on that one, funny enough, actually, that's Liam Morgan. He used to play for the Belfast Giants,
Okay.
and then he did a brief stint in Manchester as well.
Really? How long
Yep.
ago?
2, 3 years now, 2 years ago. He only played eight
Ah,
weeks in Manchester.
this was before
Then
I
he's
got
after.
invested in the chocolatey Manchester Storm. I wasn't into the Storm until they threw chocolate on the ice. Now I'm in. Let's do this, right? Okay. And then the other poster pick, you're teeing off, and man, there's a lot of trees. Like if you don't hit that fairway, that's all trees. Where's that?
Yeah, that was at a boys trip. We went up to out west to Whistler.
I was gonna
Um,
say that's not by Whitby. That's a lot of trees.
no, that was in the mountains. That was at the Chateau Fairmont there in Whistler. Um, Great course, but obviously a lot of trees. We saw some bears, some wildlife, which is pretty cool.
Um, and why do you wear number 81? Marion Hossa?
That's a good question. Well, I was always number 9 for a long time. And then at prep school, my um, first year, I lost and went to 27. And it was just 2 plus 7 was 9. And my grandpa, one of his favorite players was Gordie Howe. So, and obviously, Gretzky and Gordie Howe were kind of pioneers of the games. So I've always been attracted to that number. And then I went over to Canisius, and
Oh, you're
it
saying
was
it's because 8 plus 1 is 9.
8 plus 1 is 9. So I was at Canisius for 4 years, and I wore 81. And then just didn't have the option at Bemidji, but obviously have the option now and it's available. So I thought I'd grabbed it.
Ah, that's cool. So it's not because of a player. It's because you like 9 and you're finding ways to still be 9.
Yeah, in my own mind, definitely.
So would you have taken 9 if it was available, or did you want 81?
I probably would have taken 9 if it was available.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Now I see where your head's at. Everybody's got different reasons for wearing numbers, right?
Oh yeah, definitely, guys. I've heard some crazy stories, so guys definitely have.
Some guys are right into it, but like my son, the way I kind of got back into hockey was I was going to a Penguins Leafs game, and there was a fellow from Landshut, Germany, where I played on the Penguins, Tom Kuhnhackl, and he was nice enough to put us on this list, come up after the game and give my son a hat when he was like maybe 4 years old. And my son, then he switched. He was 34 then. Then he switches to the Islanders and wears 14. And my son's been number 14 ever since. But then this summer we skate with Ryan O'Reilly and help him out. And he lets my son come out. And now he wants to be number 90. And there's always a story behind what number people want to wear, right?
Definitely. I mean, it varies per player, but some guys have sentimental value. Some guys just like the birth year thing, um,
The
like
birth year
hockey and
thing's a
whatnot.
thing.
And then,
Yeah.
yeah.
Now
So
that we're back, I guess we're into 23 already. Good gosh. Time flies when you're having fun.
definitely.
Man, do you have a roommate?
I don't. Well, we have a house of 4 guys,
Four
so
guys in a house?
yeah, it's a big house. I mean, we got 4 or 5
Holy
bed.
moly. Who's all in the house?
So it's myself, Alex Oldale, um, Mikey Coral, and Sully Zach Sullivan.
There you go. Two of those guys have already been to the shed. Zach
Yeah.
Sullivan was the first guy I ever interviewed that was like a stranger. I
Oh,
didn't know. He was the first time I ever interviewed someone I had never like met or didn't know. That was like episode 9. That's a long time ago. Yeah.
definitely. Yeah. I mean, Sully's pretty easy to talk to, so I can imagine that went well.
And it helped me gain confidence for me that I could do that and talk to people I didn't know and make a podcast with them because when I started this, it was all buddies. And yeah, he did help me out that way. And then the Moose, yeah, him and Jake, they're shed legends around here, you know?
Yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah. Um, so what else do I got? Poster picks. The other ones were mainly hockey ones, and there was Canisius as well as Bemidji, and that's I wrote down Bauer stick and CCM stick because I didn't find switching was that easy. But I guess things have changed, as we said.
Yeah, I mean, Bauer, I find you have more feel with it. It feels more natural in your hands, I want to say almost for stick handling and whatnot. But CCM, you kind of, I feel you get more pop out of it. And I noticed that CCM, um, it's just like a springier, natural stick the way they build them. So it also depends on
And
your
that's
kit.
what you got now is CCM.
I have Warrior right now.
Or oh, whoa. Now you're getting
Yeah,
into Warrior.
yeah. So now we're Warrior gloves, Warrior like tanker, those Warrior sticks and
Do they
helmets and
all have the
whatnot.
same
So
curves then?
I
You
don't
still
mind
got
it.
the same curve?
They're pretty similar, I'd say. They're almost identical. They all each company has their own pattern depending on which guys like, and they're pretty versatile, and you can pick
Yep.
whatever you want nowadays.
Well, that's cool. Some teams I played for wouldn't just get you whatever you wanted, you know. They were like, well, these are the normal ones. Pick one of these. But anywho, every team's different. So growing up in Whitby, how'd you get into hockey?
My grandpa played hockey, and he was the biggest influence not on myself. He was drafted to the NHL, so that obviously
Really?
stemmed. Yeah, that stemmed the kind of family ties, and then my parents, my
Research team found that now that I saw that. Yeah, you're right. I did
yeah,
see that.
yeah. So my dad obviously um got me into it just because it was his dad who played and had the hockey history. Also, my mom's grandpa was a played in the AHL back in the day when it was, I think, called something different. So there was hockey in my bloodlines, and just started playing the
They say
classic little,
they say genes are a thing. The bloodlines is a thing. But
yeah, just played classic like type hockey and I went from there and took off.
um so here's a question for you then. Whitby, I would have thought they would have been pretty close to being the GTHL, but that's OMHA still.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, Durham's a really big area, right? So Toronto, you have 5 million people, and Whitby and all the outskirts and Pickering and Clarington and Oshawa and Ajax and everything all have their teams too. So there's a lot of kids, and the OMHA is a really good league, and there's always a few top teams in there that'll compete at the end of the year at the OHL Cup and then on the GTHL. So there's definitely enough talent to go around.
I totally agree. Yeah. I've heard of some crazy stories in this minor hockey world of people billeting like kids to get them to the GTHL because they don't want to play like I don't know AAA in their home area. Like that's not
Absolutely.
even good enough for parents that now you're gonna bill it your child that like you're raising, you're gonna let him live somewhere else just so he can play in the GTHL. It's like why? Like,
Absolutely. And then some of those coaches obviously get paid. Some of them make a lot of money too. So
yeah, yeah, it's a bizarre world.
parents just kind of want to find what's best for their kid. And I guess people feel that the GTHL is going to make your kid that much better when honestly, I think in reality, if your kid wants to be good at a sport and they
It's
love
up
what
to them.
they do, it's
Yes.
going to be up to
It's up
them.
to them. And what I find is I don't know, you could do the research, but I think the GTHL, if you're teaching someone how to be a teammate and a good person, I think there's probably better places to learn that. Perhaps Whitby in the OMHA. Those guys that are switching teams and always looking to be on the different team and go to why for whatever reason they're switching teams all the time, the GTHL. How are they learning how to be a good teammate? Because they're switching every year. It makes no sense, you know?
Yeah, I mean, you definitely get relationships that you want to build and kind of grow it too. You know, some of my best friends I played with growing up from the time we were 8 and we were in first grade together at the same school in Whitby. And they're still my best friends today, and I see them all the time. So even the personal side of things, it'd be tough to foster a relationship if you just play 1 year with the new team each and every year and kind of meeting new
And
guys every year.
that's what I love about what I'm doing, coaching in Kincardine, Ontario, is the weird part is it's two age groups together because we're that small that it's not the same team every year, but it's the same town. It's the same when you get to know the parents and the kids, like you see them at the grocery store, you see them around town. Like I can't imagine what it's like playing minor hockey because I've never done it where you play on a team and you never see each other. You all go to different schools. You don't interact at other sports. It's like we'll go to baseball tonight. It's going to be all the same kids that are at the hockey tryouts, you know?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, get familiar with the families, relationships with the parents and whatnot, and coaches and everyone, and kind of get a level of comfortability too, where you can move
And it
around a lot.
becomes a hockey family, right?
Yeah, that's where that sense of community really comes in a small town.
And I find it interesting that I always say shed guys come from certain areas of the world, and it's how you're raised up is kind of what makes you. And when you're in a community, that's a community, and you're all holding each other accountable, but all in it together. I find makes the best people, you know, in my experience.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. No, I definitely agree.
So then you guys win the All Ontario your last year in Whitby.
Yeah. So my 15-year-old went draft year.
Your draft year,
Oh, yeah.
you're winning it all with your buddies from your hometown.
Yeah. So I had a little brief hiatus. I went to Markham, um, just for a bit, and then came back and played in Whitby, obviously, for the last 2 years.
The
So the year
Markham
before,
Waxers.
yeah, exactly.
I
So
played
the year
against
before,
those punks growing up.
yeah, and then the year before, in Whitby, we went to the only chase and we just didn't make it to the finals. I think we ended up in the bronze or lost in round robin something. And then the next year we actually came back and we won the whole thing. So it was
That
pretty special. Really
that
good team.
that would be special. Yeah, like I won with buddies in like novice and stuff, and it's like we're still all friends, you know.
Yeah, absolutely.
So then after that, you go to St. Andrews College. What is that?
And Andrews College is actually the biggest boarding school in Canada for males, I guess, because it's an all boys school, but they just opened their all girls side too, St. Anne. So St. Andrews was an amazing time. It was 2 years. It's a prep school and just kind of played
So it's
hockey
a
there.
prep school, so you're there to play hockey and you live there?
Yeah, I lived there, boarded there, played hockey there. Some guys who are closer can they're called day boys. You can obviously live at home, but there's kids from all over the world. Yeah, tons of kids from Japan, China, Mexico have represented probably 35, 40, 50 countries. So um all bunch of diversity, and it's a massive sporting school. Um, and it was,
Did I see this is in Aurora, Ontario?
yeah,
How many kids are going to this place?
there were 650 boarding there. So there was like three houses of kids, and then there was probably total of 350 day boys, so probably 1,000 kids. But it's from grade 5 to 12, I believe, right now.
Okay. And how did you end up going there? What's the decision making to go there? As if it's obviously for hockey.
Yeah, so originally when I was drafted to the OHL, I went to Saginaw's camp, and I just never really knew anything about the NCAA,
Yeah.
but I was getting recruited by the coach David Manning at St. Andrews, and it was an opportunity. He said, "Hey, I'll come to a school, watch a game. It's good hockey." And I said, okay. And then we'll open your eyes kind of the NCAA route, which I never really thought about. And ended up going on a tour, saw the school. My parents were always big on education. They agreed that getting a really solid education in 2 years in high school, my grade 11, 12 years is obviously really important going into university. And they loved it's a good opportunity to get a scholarship to play NCAA hockey in the States. So once I kind of learned about all that, saw all that, I was sold.
When was the first time you saw an NCAA game?
Oh, that's a good question. My first time I saw an NCAA game, my first year at St. Andrews, because when I played in Whitby, most teams go and see a bunch of NCAA games, or they see one and then they'll go see an OHL game and get the best of both worlds. But we didn't do that, so I saw just a bunch of OHL games. And if I
They
saw
did
the
that in
NCAA
minor
side,
hockey where they would go watch an NCAA game and
yeah,
an OHL.
just through draft year, so guys know that okay, there's this route, there's that route, depending on what happens in the draft and
And they were
whatnot.
doing that out of Whitby because so my story is when I'm playing for the Elmira Sugar Kings, we had former Sugar Kings playing NCAA, Fair State, St. Lawrence University, a couple others, but my hometown Elmira Sugar Kings I'm playing junior B with. We then went and watched my two heroes from like high school, watching them win the Sutherland Cup. I would go watch them play at St. Lawrence University. I go watch them play at Fair State University. And as soon as I saw NCAA hockey and you see the bands playing and you see the student sections, and I was like, oh, like I there. And then we went and watched an OHL game, and it was just like every other hockey game where everybody just sits there, they cheer if something happens, they might get excited if there's a fight. But like when you go to an NCAA game, it was like, well, this is where I gotta be, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think the big thing with the OHL is it's instant. It's now. You want to go play there, you see the big fans, and you kind of get you're in awe. But the NCAA, especially if you go to a bigger school too, you got the football programs, basketball programs, you got like thousands of people you're going to meet. You get a good education, and you get to play hockey there at a very, very high level. And now it's basically a huge feeder into the NHL. So, and the pros, you see tons of NCAA players signing
Well,
pro
and
deal.
the other thing that's interesting for me is like how much better Americans are at hockey now. Like I know we never have the World Cups where it's like Canada against US or whatever, but that's just the top players. I'm talking USA as a whole. When you look at NCAA rosters back in when I was playing and before that, there's a lot of Canadians on those teams. Nowadays, there is hardly any Canadians on those teams.
Yeah, I mean, the development program obviously has fostered kind of the best players that you see in the world, juniors, the U18s, everyone, all the top tier cream of the crop guys are obviously very good, but
But then you
you
see like all those hubs like LA and St. Louis and all these places that weren't really hockey places that now have guys that like were NHL players that have now raised kids in those cities and they're running the minor hockey and they're teaching guys how to hockey, you know?
exactly. And then you got obviously the USHL is a great junior league, but
Yes.
the direct feeder into the NCAA, I'd argue than all like the NHL and whatnot. There's obviously very good kids there as well. So you're
Well,
seeing kids from
I'm
all over.
getting sidetracked, eh? We're still in St. Andrews. So when did you go there for 2 years? When do you start getting NCAA interest? Is it while you're at St. Andrews? Or because then you leave and go to the BCHL, it looks like.
Yeah, so I went to or I had 1 year at St. Andrews and I was my grade 11 year. I had a pretty good year, nothing crazy. Didn't talk to like a few schools, nothing crazy. And then my grade 12 year, we were playing at Dexter actually. I remember it. And my line mate at the time, actually Morgan Barron, who plays for I think he plays for Winnipeg right now, I believe.
Nice.
His brother's on Montreal. So I was blessed to have a really good centerman, obviously. And I just he had a great game, and I was like assisting on it. I felt like every goal that he was scoring. So one of the coaches from Boston College actually came and watched, and then he watched one of the other games. He reached out, and I just checked my email, and I had an offer from Boston College. So I originally committed to Boston College for I think 2 or 3 years. Then I went out to the BCHL and West Kelowna for a year. and then went back to, or for half a year, sorry, and then went to Wellington, and then obviously had a great time in Wellington, and I just decided to decommit, stay closer to home kind of thing. Went to Canisius, and then the rest is
So
kind
you went you said you decommitted. So you had committed and then you went so you go to BCHL, whatever, it's nice in Kelowna, but then you head back to be closer to home, which I get at that age, right? I know a guy that went out west, played a game or two, and he was like 17, 18 years old, and he literally had nothing to do all day because all he had was hockey. He was done high school. He goes out there and he's so bored, and he's a go-getter. He's a guy that needs to be busy. And then he goes out there and decides this isn't for me. I have nothing to do all day. I'm bored out of my mind. I want to be closer to family and friends. And like he came back to Elmira, my hometown. But anyways, um, when he did that, because he left the BCHL, they kind of like decided he wasn't that committed or he didn't want it that bad. And it's like, well, no, that's not the case, you know?
yeah, I mean it's different for everyone. My experience out there, I love like home is a beautiful part of the country and whatnot. So I stayed out there and I was just kind of I was doing school and had a bunch of school obviously through tough semesters at St. Andrews. So I was kind of relieved to just focus on hockey and be the best hockey player I could be. And we had a lot of team outings with the fans, everything. So we stayed busy and we're doing a better job at kind of integrating teams in the community. And then we traveled too, and like on weekends and whatnot. If you go to the islands or you play other parts of out west, you were busy. So I enjoyed it out there for the time I was, and then obviously I got traded back to Wellington,
So that
and it
was a
was kind of
trade, or you asked to go back closer to home?
I asked for a trade just because of the situation and like just
Yeah.
how we're running and whatnot.
So BCHL can trade to Wellington in Ontario?
Yeah, they can trade anywhere in Canada. You can get traded to Nova
Really?
Scotia if they wanted to. Yeah, it's just the leagues are all you can trade anywhere.
I didn't know that. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Um, so you go there and Wellington must be a pretty good squad and you fit right in because you go there mid-season, which can be difficult in junior, especially when they have their team and lines and power plays and everything set up. But come playoff time, you got 12 points in 12 games.
Yeah, Wellington was that second half was a big, I would say honestly, almost a turning point because I was kind of losing confidence out west. I was decommitting from Boston. That was in the back of my mind because they had players like Alex Newhook and Jack McBean, everyone coming in. So I knew that if I went to go in, I wouldn't be playing as much. So then at Wellington, I was like, hey, there was opportunity. The coach kind of came up to me and he said, "We're going to give you ice time and see what you can do with it." And I just kind of took the reins and had a good second half in that playoffs. I did really, really well, and the team did pretty good. And then the next year, we had a good team coming back, and we did a great job of building like a championship roster. And it was just an awesome year the whole way through.
That it's winning in junior when you get on a team that is just good. I had the same thing in junior. Um, it can be so much fun, right? When you're that age and your team's winning and you're just into hockey and it's like, and we're winning every game. Like it's so different than losing, isn't it?
Yeah, it's almost like one of those things that you kind of take for granted when you're in it, but when you're not, you want to get there. When you're winning all the time, like we were at the point where we were winning and it was expected. And
Hmm.
it was like, oh, we won. Like, what do you do kind of thing. We never thought about it until the end of the year when we looked at our record and we're like, wow, we're a really good team. And then went into the playoffs and we actually struggled that the first two rounds. We almost lost out. I got suspended and then we called up a bunch of guys
What'd you
down.
do?
I speared a guy. I
Nice.
speared a guy, got a 4 game suspension. So I
In the
was out
nuts or the gut?
closer to the groin, I'd say.
Yeah,
Um,
well, there's different ways of spearing a guy.
yeah,
There's like, but there's the gooch, right? Between the balls and the butthole. I like to give him one of those. That can make him drop. But then if you go in the gut, then that's pretty obvious, right? If you just go
yeah, exactly.
right up between the legs, it can piss a guy off, but it can hurt too, you know?
Yeah, so I mean, I was obviously I lost my cool there, and that happened, and then We called up a bunch of guys from Junior B who were former OHL players, so they were just playing Junior B to kind of wind down their careers, but they were all like hell of players, and they were the biggest impact on our team all season. And we just literally, I think, like dominated every game from that out. Just took off.
Well, and so then you end up winning the OJHL, and I have it written down. You had 17 points at 21 playoff games. Those playoff runs, I don't care how old you are. I don't care what league you're in. I know the Stanley Cup it's 4 rounds, which is more than I ever did. The Coast, we did 4 rounds, but one of them was a best of like 5. But going to the finals and going on playoff runs where you have to knock off a team and then start with a new team and you're doing best of 7s, man, there's nothing like it. You become friends for life. You know you'd do anything for each other, and it's bizarre, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, like that first round we played 7 games. Second round we went 7 games. Third round we went, I think, 5 or 6. So like right there, there's 20
So
games,
that's
21
a
games.
lot of
So
hockey.
after playing a season where you played just 50 or 60, I missed a couple from being hurt and whatnot. But those guys and those friendships, and obviously a bunch of them went on to play NCAA or go pro. Still talk to them
Because
today.
you did it
My
together. And it's like
captain.
if you guys lose in game 7 of that first round, things can change for those guys that didn't have the scholarships yet, right? They're not getting on that stage in front of
Exactly.
people and playing in finals and winning trophies, and people are seeing that you guys are winning. Those I've talked to guys on here that they're like, well, we lost in junior. I literally don't stay in contact with any of them or know what any of them are doing, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I still talk to my line mate and my captain from when we played in junior all the way through when he went to university. And then he's over in Europe now too, playing hockey. So it's a small world too, the hockey world. Everyone learns quick that people know everyone from everywhere, and just staying in contact with guys can open up doors down the road.
Well, that sure can. And yeah, people talk, and the type of person and teammate you are travels everywhere because no matter who the coach is or GM, what they're going to do is get their research team hot, find someone that's played with them that they know, because we all know somebody that's played with someone, and they're going to ask, who is he? What's he about? What kind of teammate is he? And whatever that guy says changes everything, right?
Exactly. Yeah, I definitely think that being a good teammate is almost just as important as being a good player because nowadays, especially you see stories and whatnot coming out, everyone wants like a team cancer, so to speak. They don't want to deal with the hassle. They just want coachable players who get along with everyone. I just good guys.
Well, and that's what I've found interesting back when I was coming up. Whether it's changed or not, I don't know. Um, North American Pro was not like that. It wasn't about getting the best teammates and people and character people. It was about the athlete. It was about how their bodies looked and moved and how tall they were. It wasn't as much about the the person and who they were and what they were about. And I find it interesting the teams that win championships in every league is it's the guys that know how to give her and are the best teammates that win. And it's like, to bring up Ryan O'Reilly again, it's like when he wins in St. Louis and he's like the guy there and winning the Conn Smythe, it's like, well, that's how you win, is guys like that. You can have all the skill in the world, but if you don't get it, you're not going to win, you know?
Yeah, that's the point of having a team, right? You're gonna have to get 25, 26 guys to buy in.
And I
And that's
find in the NHL, it's all more about the athlete and what they look like on the ice than the actual character of the person. And I find in Europe, it was a lot more about what the person was like can carry more weight than it did in North America, if that makes sense to you.
yeah, I mean the North American style, it's different, and they're a business, the NHL, so it's their job to kind of grow the game and grow the business. So you're gonna run into a bunch of, I want to say, egos, so to speak. You got guys making different types of money thinking they should be other places. So it's kind of tough. You're dealing with a bunch of different factors. And then you
Oh,
got the first
there's so
half.
much going on in the North American game when it comes to contracts and the kids coming up and the draft picks, and it's a lot of times it doesn't come down to who actually just played better the last game, you know?
Yeah, and you got the media kind of just putting a spotlight on certain people, and when they want a guy, they want to push him. Like they're gonna really push that guy through the media. So I
Oh,
mean, every
there's
time
no
I go on
doubt.
Instagram, I see Connor Bedard. Like
Everywhere.
he's going to be the face of that NHL, right? So, um, and rightfully so, he's earned it. He's going to help the league make a lot of money. So that's the way it's going to work.
Yeah, and it'd be interesting how he does with the men. Like that's different. I know. What was it like for you to go from junior then? So you do all that in junior, and then you do go to Canisius. I found the first year, freshman year of NCAA, when it's literally all the best guys from all the best junior leagues are now competing to see who's the best in college, was a big jump that first year.
Yeah, just it's like a pyramid, right? The closer you get to the top, the harder it gets, and you just get weeded out. But it was interesting because that
Hmm.
year in Wellington,
Well, that was well put. I never thought of it that way.
yeah, so that year in Wellington, I played 105 games, so my body we started in August and ended in June. It was
Yep.
a long season. It was almost a full 12 months. So my body was pretty beat up, and I used to use the summers to kind of work out and get in shape. Well, I took 3 weeks off, 4 weeks off after a 10-month season, and then I was going to college and where you're working out 3 times a week hard, you're competing against men, and you're kind of I didn't really have time to rest or recover.
And those
So that
college
freshman year,
workouts can be draining.
I remember that college, the spring after my freshman year, we lost and we didn't meet expectations. And that was probably the most miserable stint of conditioning I've ever had to do for about 6 weeks. Um,
I
it
I
was
know
tough.
exactly what you're talking about. At Western Michigan, we had a great team. We were like a team away from the rink. But there was punishment, right? If you didn't perform, it was punishment. And basically every year I was there, we got put out before we wanted to be. And they would punish us. And it was running very far distance. Like I was a Kenyan marathon runner, you know? And it
I
was
mean,
like I'm a hockey player actually.
it was grueling. But I'll tell you one thing, by the end of that, I could skate up and down the ice 4 or 5 times, and I was not even huffing and puffing just because you thought you know your limit, and then you push past it, and you have 20 guys pushing you, and you have your coaches right there where you can't slack off.
Oh
That
yeah.
was the best skating shape I've been in a long time.
It's quite the environment when you get all your teammates helping each other out trying to get through it, and then the coaches aren't gonna they're watching to see who breaks. And those workouts at NCAA, man, can really be intense, and it does help you for the rest of your life know how far you can dig down deep, you know?
Yeah, no, without a doubt. I mean, we pushed very hard, but yeah, that adjustment from playing with men versus you being the man that when you're 18, 19, when you're playing 16, 17-year-olds and junior, just the biggest thing was like I was in the corner and I felt guys that if they get a hand on you, they can pick you up. Like they can literally throw you. Like you got a 24-year-old man who's been working out for 4 years. He's going to be stronger than you. So my biggest thing was
Um,
better conditioning because obviously the long junior season, and then just getting stronger and protecting the puck better.
well, there's no doubt when you get into college, there could be some guys that are so much stronger than anything you've dealt with before. Um, the one I remember actually when you brought that up was I went into a corner with Kevin Bieksa when he was with Bowling Green, and I went in, tried to protect the puck, and he manhandled me, took the puck, and then his team's going up the ice with the puck, and he's skating up the ice with me, and he goes, "Kid, you better get in the gym."
Yeah, yeah. I
And
mean,
I was like, no shit, because that was embarrassing.
yeah. There's man strength out there, and those guys. I had guys on my team this past year in Bemidji that were just you can't get around them. They'll just grab you and they'll throw you like quite literally. So I had to
Is
be so.
Bemidji in Minnesota?
Yeah, it's northern Minnesota, so it's about 3 hours north of Twin Cities.
I played there, but I think they were building a new arena. Were you in a new arena?
Yeah, we had a beautiful arena. We had the Sanford Center, so it was.
So I was before that. I played an old barn. It was cool though. A nice old barn. It was just like, around here type of a barn.
Yeah, I remember there's pictures of that on the wall, and when you walk down, you kind of see like the Wall of Fame or Hall of Fame, so to speak. So you see all the past, present, and like Hall of Famers, Americans, NHLers, Stanley Cup winners, and stuff.
So Andrew Murray probably would have been one of them.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean, there's still a lot of too, and then you had Zach Whitecloud this past year with Vegas won a cup, so he came back. He's from Bemidji, so
that's cool.
but
It's nice when those programs. It would be kind of like raising these puppies around here and seeing them go places and do things. That's cool to see, right?
definitely it kind of it's cool to see too when they go back and they thank everyone from home and don't forget their roots because that's ultimately where they came from.
Mm-hmm.
They
And
get to
how
celebrate
they got there.
that. Yeah, with that sense of community that they built growing up, they get to celebrate it with everyone.
Yeah. Anyway, so Canisius, ever heard of Carl Hudson?
No.
Hmm. I'm pretty sure he may or may not still or not. He did have the defenseman scoring record at that school.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Crazy
wasn't
Carl.
aware.
He could really get after it. He could do it. He can really do things.
Yeah,
Yeah. Bus
I
rides
played.
home from games, Christmas parties as a team with everybody. He can have fun. That guy knows how to hockey.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely a few of those guys out there, and I played just to my freshman, couple studs, so
You
they were.
cut out there for a second, but you played with a couple studs, you said?
Yeah, I was just saying there's a couple guys that obviously knew how to have fun, but then there was a couple studs that I played with at Canisius my freshman year and kind of just learned from them and then kind of pass it on to the next guys.
So they would have had a nice barn. Then I had that written down because I had seen the old one. No, not Canisius. What's Canisius' barn like? I was talking about Bemidji. What's
Oh
Canisius' barn
well,
like?
Bemidji's Canisius is nice too. It's attached to the KeyBank Center where the Buffalo Sabres play. So it's called the Harbor Center. And they hosted the World
That's
Junior.
where Canisius is right by down in Buffalo.
Yeah, downtown Buffalo.
Really?
So yeah, so it was right they held the World Juniors there. They put half the games in Canisius is ranked the Harbor Center and then half the games at the KeyBank Center. And yeah, I know it's a beautiful rink. Everything's brand new. The gym's state of the art. Like the facilities are perfect.
It is interesting, right? In NCAA, you see the money these some of these schools have. Like I don't know what Canisius is like, but Western Michigan, they got money. You can see Michigan, Michigan State, and all these different schools, and they can give hockey teams whatever you want. They give you the best sticks, the best equipment. Their dressing rooms are outrageous. And then, like, if you don't make the NHL and you go to the next level, and let's say it's the AHL, the East Coast, wherever it is, you don't even get nearly what you get in the NCAA.
No, because you're playing with a school budget, right? That's a bit different than just the team.
That
So,
then a
so
team that's trying to make money, right?
for example, yeah, I mean North Dakota, obviously they're the big one that everyone talks about. But I saw yesterday a video of them, and they have an altitude training room. So if they're ever going to play up in Denver or Air Force or Colorado or anywhere, or playing somewhere lower, they
Shut
can switch
up.
the pressure. They can all hop on the bike, switch the pressure of the air, so they can learn to breathe at different levels before they play.
Well, why wouldn't they just make it hard all the time?
They probably do
Right?
and use it to
Right.
their
You know what I mean?
advantage.
Just thinking out loud
Um,
again.
yeah.
I just had to deal with shit. I remember we went to Colorado College and I like we did a lot of working out. I was in shape and boy oh boy, the breathing up there was different, you know?
Definitely. I mean, the same thing was at Air Force. You go to Colorado Springs. The one year we had a bunch of guys had kind of like a respiratory infection. So we had not a lot of guys playing. And I was like kind of during COVID as well. And playing 28 minutes a night because we only had eight forwards dressed and we were dying out there quite literally because the
That would
oxygen
that would be
levels.
difficult. So were you guys ever good when you're at Canisius?
Yeah, my junior year and senior year we were good. My junior year we went to the late like league final and we actually lost AIC. I think they won all 4 years when I was there. They were a good team. And then
It,
my senior year, we underachieved. We lost in the second or second round of playoffs maybe. Um,
and you were good in
so
the regular
obviously
season.
that was,
Yeah.
yeah, we did. And then Bemidji, we had a really good team. We were in first place at Christmas. We were on top of the league, and then we just kind of ran into injuries and just kind of went on a little losing skid.
So you were part of one of those guys now that plays 5 years of NCAA, and I see it now with all this transfer portal or whatever they call.
Yep.
I couldn't imagine switching schools. Like I loved Western Michigan and my brothers so much. I couldn't imagine playing in a different school. So how I know all the baloney was going on there, but like what's that fifth year look like? Are you doing like your masters or are you still finishing normal school?
Well, for me personally, there's options to do your master's, but Bemidji didn't offer it because of international students couldn't get their visa online because of COVID and it was all messed up. But personally, I was doing a dual degree at Canisius for finance and economics. So I finished up my second degree in economics at Bemidji because a lot of my courses kind of transferred. But I know a lot of
So
guys,
you got 2 degrees.
correct. And I know a lot of guys, they can do masters or whatnot, and they can do different degrees. They can take different things. So it's
So when you switch to Bemidji, though, this is the part I find interesting because I know a kid that was going to Western Michigan, then kind of didn't go, or he did but didn't play, and now he's transferred. Like when you go there as a fifth year guy, they would have recruited a kid 2 or 3 years earlier, like say you with Boston, and that kid always thought he was going there, and now a different guy saying, "Well, I'm actually going to play a fifth year," right?
yeah, I mean it's been an advantage for the teams, so to speak, because you don't have to recruit as many freshmen, which teams like because they already know guys who have played in the NCAA and can trust their game and know what they're going to get with them.
Be a harder thing to break into now, right? And get ice time as a freshie.
Yeah, no, you're damn right. I mean, the freshmen definitely have it harder than ever for playing spots, but
It
at the
was
same,
already hard enough.
yeah, but at the same time, I think that COVID, it was the only way the 5 year rule worked was for the people and the guys who lost a year during COVID. So like all the Ivy League schools, they didn't even play. A lot of the teams only played like 14 games. Like I think we only played 15. So we kind of lost that whole year of college. We weren't allowed to go out, do anything, like see like it was pretty much you were at the rink wearing a mask, COVID test. Like it was pretty miserable. So
That's
we
not
kind of
college.
yeah. So even you didn't get the development, you didn't get to enjoy college. So that fifth year kind of was really nice
Yeah,
because you enjoy college again.
no kidding. Because I four of my best years of my life were Western Michigan. That was as fun as life got, you know?
Yeah, and I would expect that from any university, right? That's what they try to do. So it was I love all 5 years.
So how do you
And
decide on it? So when you do go to Canisius, how do you decide to go to Bemidji? How does that work then to like, because obviously I haven't been through transferring. Do they then recruit you knowing you're on a fourth year and you may be able to play a fifth?
yeah, so what happened is the end of my fourth year at Canisius, we had the end of year meetings. My go pro, you can turn pro, and if you want fifth year, we're happy to have you back. Or you can say, I want to enter the transfer portal. So when you enter the portal, and it's just this big thing that all the coaches can look at with who is there and who's not.
Oh,
And it has your stats, so every college coach can see. And then, sure enough, I got a call from Coach Territory, and he was asking me if I wanted to come to Canisius or to Bemidji, and yeah, it worked out well. I mean, I enjoyed
And
it.
then that's like near the end of that senior year, then like it's
I
literally
was at the very end of the hockey season, but probably 2 months left of school. Month left of school.
right. Yeah, that's a whole different thing in NCAA that's new that wasn't around when I was there. That's different. But other thing I found was your team in Bemidji had Finns, Swedes, and a Polish dude.
Yeah, yeah, we had a whole mixture. I mean,
It's kind of
and
nice in NCAA to do that, I guess. Like for me, it was cool because all the guys I played with were like from an hour away from each other in Ontario, Canada, that all went to the Broncos. And that was awesome because we could all carpool. Our families were all friends. We still can get together. It's not too far away, but you play NCAA with guys from those countries. Like everybody has a different culture and backgrounds. And I had never played with Europeans until I got to pro, you know?
yeah, I mean, some of the best players I played with are the Europeans, and some of the best guys I know are the Europeans. So I had, yeah, I think it was two Swedes, a Finn, and a Polish, or two Finns, a Swede, and a Polish.
Yeah.
Um, Last year. So no, it was good, and like they're super good guys, and it's just funny to see them kind of get used to the American lifestyle and learn the
So
language and
you
everything.
did the NCAA then to finish that other degree instead of turning pro then.
Correct.
Hmm. So then you do decide to go straight to Manchester, eh?
Yeah, yeah. I was looking at my options. I got hurt at the end of the year at Bemidji. Didn't play my last um game or two, and so I was just sitting there, and I was gonna sign a couple contracts in North America. Uh,
Like to finish the
and
year.
yeah, to go. I was gonna go turn pro, but my knee. I was out for like 9, 10 weeks, so I was just rehabbing my knee down in Florida, and I didn't have a contract obviously because I was hurt. And then I was just talking to my agent, and he mentioned that Manchester um, wanted to sign me
Talk.
and
Yeah.
have me. So I talked to Ginner, and yeah, it worked out.
No, that's cool. And I always wonder how it all works out, right? And usually people know someone that knows someone. I'm curious, like what your connection is to Ginner that he found you of all the NCAA guys, right? Like there's a lot of teams out there.
Yeah, well, Ginner's only from like 40 minutes away from Whitby, like my hometown. He's from
Lindsay, right?
Lindsay, so that's not too far. And there's like about 3 or 4 guys from Ontario, like 40 minutes, that all Ginner, I guess, knew. And then my agent
I get
decided
it. Shed guys are from certain pockets of the world, you know?
exactly. And then my agent did a good job. Yeah, and obviously did his job. So that's
I wonder when I look at that sweater you got there from the Storm, I wonder if I actually pay my bill as being a sponsor, if Ginner's gonna send me some swag because he should, because I'm part of the team, you know? I just don't
yeah,
play. I just talk, you know?
yeah. I mean, I could ask him for you.
Oh, I'll
We
ask him. I already got to be in contact with him to I got to send him some money here, you know, so they can keep promoting the brand
exactly.
when
So I
Critch
got
is running amok.
yeah,
Um,
it's
yeah.
perfect.
But yeah, I should get some swag to wear while I'm in the shed, right? Especially when I'm having Storm guys on and we're gonna chuck chocolate everywhere when you guys are running amok, right? And
Exactly.
I'm gonna prove all those predictions wrong because they can all go shove it, right?
I agree.
Yeah. You guys that made those predictions, you guys just wait and see how little preseason matters. And when fun is fun and chocolate starts getting thrown, how bad you guys are going to want it, right? Like, how bad are you going to want buttons and dimes to get thrown on the ice your first win and be like, you're telling me this happened from Whitby, Ontario, Kincard, Ontario to Manchester, England, and now there's chocolate on the ice? Like, wow, I really want to win the next game. So I get more dimes and buttons, right?
Definitely.
Yeah. Yeah. It's fun stuff, right? Well, welcome to the squad. And it was nice getting to know you today.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you for having me.
So when do you guys start? This weekend?
Tomorrow we play the Challenge Cup. We play Nottingham tomorrow at home. And then
Challenge Cup.
yeah, and then I guess the season opener is against Nottingham in Nottingham.
Okay. So yeah, it all starts tomorrow, folks. game on, right?
Yep, exactly.
Um, well, I think I know what your nickname is. And this has been another episode of Two Ales and Hockey Tales with Marty and Wally.